some kind of thing that just needs to be restrained. Mr. Wilson took me to the office and signed me out. The clerk, a little fat lady, was looking at me as and I felt naked. "I can't take none of my stuff with me," I asked. Mr. Wilson took me by the arm and started walking me through the wing toward the side door. We went into the yard and it was nice. It was a nice day, sunny, bright, with birds walking around on the grass. The back of the transportation van has rings on the sides and I was cuffed to one of them. We drove for almost 2 hours. I could tell because Mr. Wilson was listening to the news on the radio the whole time. From where I was sitting, I couldn't see out the back window, but I could see through the front window when Mr. Wilson moved his head a little. I could tell we were in a city, and I could see black people. I thought that maybe something had happened at home. Somebody had died or something, and they were taking me to the funeral. I figured it had to be either Mom or Willis. They wouldn't take me to see my father because he didn't live with me, and I couldn't imagine anything happening to Icy. I didn't think God liked me, but I didn't think he wouldn't let Icy get hurt. When the van stopped and Mr. Wilson came to take me out, I saw a small crowd of Puerto Ricans looking people on the sidewalk. I wondered if they were waiting for me. Mr. Wilson got me from the sidewalk, locked the van, and then started making a call on a cell. I looked around and recognized where I was. I was in front of the 135th Street precinct, and I figured I had been right, that something had happened to my family. Mr. Wilson finished his call and then took me into the precinct. He led me to the sergeant at the desk and gave him my name and number from Progress. Another cop came and got me, and he and Mr. Wilson went with me up a flight of stairs to put me in a small room. It was about the size of a detention room at Progress. The room looked hard. There was a table with 3 chairs, 2 on one side and 1 on the other side. The cop pointed toward the one chair. "Sit there," he said. I sat down, still cuffed, and the cop and Mr. Wilson left. I didn't hear them lock the door, but I saw there wasn't a doorknob on the inside of it. The room was painted dark on the bottom, a reddish brown and green on top. There weren't any windows or nothing. In a corner I saw a camera and there was a red indicator light next to it. I knew somebody could look at me through the camera and maybe even tape me. For a while I tried to look cool, like I was innocent or something, and then that made me laugh. "How are you supposed to look when you're innocent?" I told myself. If I ever go back to Progress, I was going to tell Play how I was trying to look. When you're in a room with no clock and nobody there to talk to you, you can't tell how long you've been in it. It seemed like a long time, and I was beginning to feel like I had to go to the bathroom. I knew they wanted to make me feel uncomfortable. Being in a chair and handcuffed was uncomfortable, all by itself. I stretched my legs out and tried to relax. There wasn't nothing about somebody being hurt or anything. This was about something else. I wasn't worried about it because the only thing I ever did, I got caught for and was up in Progress ever since. I thought maybe Willis did something and they wanted to know what I knew about it. If I did know something, I wasn't going to snitch, but I didn't know anything. This was the truth. That was the truth, whether they believed it or not. I was glad for the camera. At least they couldn't beat me up. Or maybe they could. Just turn the camera off a little while and kick my ass, then turn it back on. When the door opened, I jumped. 2 guys, one white and one black, came in. The black guy was real big, about 6'5" and 6'3" and dark skinned. He had a cigar in his mouth. He took it out and looked at it like it was a real interest to him, and then he took it out of his jacket. He had a holster on, but he didn't have a gun in it. The white guy was wearing a soft shirt and was big but a little fat. He then put a folder on the desk. "We thought you were light stuff," the black guy said. "What are you thinking about?" "I don't know what I'm thinking about," I said. I bet Progress they always had said to they had always said every day, never talk to the police or answer any questions no matter what happened, and because they didn't, they will just hang you for it. But I didn't want to talk or answer any questions. "This is Detective Browning, and I'm John Broads, Mr. Anderson," the white guy said. "You don't have to remember our names." "You need water or anything?" the black guy said. "You hungry?" "I just had breakfast," I said. "Before we ask you any questions, we have to read you your rights," the white guy said. "Just listen to them. You have the right to remain silent and refuse to answer questions. Anything you say may be used against you in the court of law. You have the right to consult an attorney before speaking to the police or to have an attorney present during questioning now or in the future. If you cannot afford an attorney, if you wish, one can be appointed for you before any questioning. If you decide to answer questioning now without an attorney present, you will still have the right to stop answering at any time until your rights, as I have explained them to you. Are you willing to answer my questions without hesitation without an attorney present?" "I don't want to answer my question," I said. "Fine, no problem," the white detective said. "But did you understand the rights?" "Yeah." "And you know you're facing 20 years?" "For what? I've been up in Progress for almost 2 years, so I couldn't have done anything." "You are arrested for stealing and distributing prescription pads, right?" the black detective asked. "Yeah." "You hooked up with Freddie Booker." "Yeah." "Booker said you also stole some drugs which you cut and distributed." The black guy went on. "Is that hard, right?" "No, man." "Well, he's swearing to it, and some of the drugs that were involved have caused the death of an addict," the white detective said. "He said I did that 2 years ago." "I think he's lying," the black detective said. "He's lying to save his ass." "He's in jail, right?" I said. "No, he's on parole," the white detective said. "He got some time off for cooperating in another case. But he got busted for distribution, and he said he got the drugs from you." 2 years ago? He said you stashed them with your brother. "Willis?" The white detective opened up the folder. "Your brother Willis Anderson?" "Yeah, but—" "Does he use drugs?" "No," I said. "So if he's got a stash, he must be selling this shit, right?" "I don't know what you're talking about," I said, "and I don't want to answer any more questions." "This is what I was talking to you about," the black detective said to the white guy. "He wants a lawyer up because he knows the deal." "There ain't no deal," I said, "and I don't want to answer any more questions." "You know, Billy," the white guy turned to the black detective, "you think Anderson here is willing to take the 20 years because he's looking to beat a murder one rap. I mean, it makes sense. With the 20, he gets out in 16 max. Maybe he can manage an appeal or something and get out in 10. if they give him the full bid or on murder one, he can get life without the possibility of parole. You think he's just playing and it's smart? I don't know why he's taking the 20 to cover for Booker, though, the black guy said. Then he turned to me. You and Freddie Booker real tight? I don't even know the sucker, I said. I just peeped his play around the neighborhood. That's all. Look, he doesn't want to tell us if Booker was dealing drugs, even if we can offer him a plea, the white guy said. We can offer him 5 and he'd be on the street in 3. He's got something to hide, so he's keeping mum. Isn't that right? Let's not deal with him. The black detective said. He'd rather do 20 calendar than talk to us. That's the way these people are. Okay, send him back to jail, the white guy said. We know where to find him. And when the trial comes to it, we'll tell them that he don't want no real deal. He wants the full 20. How's your daughter? Did she get to watch the game the other night? They were headed toward the town. Nah, her mom made her do her homework, but I taped it for her. The black guy said he was leaving the room.